the seed ship that is taking up most of her screen. The new kind of ship we spotted for the first time a few weeks ago is not actually white according to the spectrometer readings, but rather various shades of dirty gray. Compared to the kind of seed ship we have known so far, however, it might as well be painted in blaze orange. Not only do the ship's hulls reflect the distant starlight instead of swallowing it, they also show up on infrared, which makes them 1,000 times easier to track and target. 1,700 meters. I read off the scale the computer superimposed on the bottom of the sensor screen. That's a small one. The ones we've seen so far are usually almost twice as long.
Maybe they have different ship classes like we do,
Mills says. A Lanky frigate, I say, and she chuckles softly. The seed ship on her screen is still almost 3 times as long as Washington, and probably twice as massive. And thinking of it as a minor ship is darkly funny.
Have you ever seen one from close up?
Mills asks. I can tell she had to bite the "sir" off the end of the question with some effort, but it's coming easier to her now. More than one, I reply. Back in 12, when we returned to the solar system on Indy, we popped out of the Alcubierre chute so close to one that we had to take evasive action. Could have just about stuck an arm out of the airlock and touched their hull.
I read about that mission when I was in tech school. I knew there was a combat controller with them. I didn't know that was you.
I was a minor player, I say. Colonel Campbell and his crew did all the heavy lifting.
Everyone on that ship went above and beyond,
she says. She shifts her attention from her screen and looks up at me. Then she shrugs.
Not trying to suck up, sir. Just stating what the history books say.
It didn't feel like it at the time, and some gave more than others. Some of us are still alive, I think. The memory comes back with more impact than I had expected after all this time. That feeling of certainty the world was about to end. Then I realized that this young sergeant was 15 when we battled the Lankies on Earth for the first time, and I decided to keep those thoughts to myself. On the screen in front of Staff Sergeant Mills, our alien nemesis continues its slow and steady journey away from the rogue planet and the moon we are about to survey. Since we arrived in this strange and hostile system, we have been mapping and cataloging it, carrying a little light further into the darkness with every mission. The planet has 4 moons orbiting it, all bigger than Earth's moon and wildly different from each other as far as we can tell. Today will be our first close look at one of them. The recon drone showed that it's covered in ice, which could mean a solution to one of our pressing problems, a finite water supply that's slowly dwindling every day. But before we can send the engineer teams down to the surface to set up a mining outpost, we need to make sure that the place isn't already under hostile management. On the screen, a readout shows the distance to the Lanky. I'm happy to see that the number's increasing at a good clip as the seed ship moves away from us. 60, 70, 80,000 meters. I'll never get used to being this close to Lanky ships, even if the ones in this system have never shown any interest in our tiny little dropships. It feels like how I imagine diving with sharks would feel, only without the benefit of a protective cage, and with sharks that are almost 2 kilometers long. 7 minutes to the final marker, I say to Sergeant Mills. Let's warm up the birds and run one more check on the hardware.
Affirmative,
Mills replies. She switches screens to bring up the payload management page. Our Blackfly has 6 hardpoints, 2 under each wing and 2 on the belly of the ship. Each of them is weighed down with a missile-shaped seismic drone, a new development from the R&D division. They've been tested in all sorts of different environments in the solar system before, but this is the first time they're going to be used in an operational setting. I watch as she verifies the status of the drive systems, guidance modules, and sensor packages. Everything comes up green. We have a lot of new tech with us on this trip, and the new toys from R&D have worked flawlessly so far. The Wonder Balls alone have been beyond invaluable. We are in a new environment operating under conditions nobody has ever experienced or expected, but our technology has allowed us to start adapting to our predicament. If this works, we can take all the showers we want again, I say. Mills groans wistfully.
I can't wait. I probably smell like a trash compactor by now.